Technology in the workplace. Information technology is not improving the working lives of most people in developed countries. Technology marginalizes various groups, replaces many professions, has adverse effects on stress, has adverse effects on workers' health, and creates social isolation.
Many of those among the elderly have described their ambivalence with technology because while it can be magical, they just don't really have a use for it. Neil Charnas, a researcher at Create, explains that as you get older, it takes much longer for you to learn new routines, something you need to do constantly to keep up with new technology. He explains, if it takes you twice as long to learn something, why would you invest that time when you could be drawing on your already acquired knowledge and doing things you enjoy doing? This shows that for a consistently growing population, the technology we have does not have a strong positive impact on most of their lives. We can also see that technology marginalizes another group, people with disabilities. There are also beneficial examples of technology for this community, but it still faces many problems that keep people with disabilities at a lower level of access compared to others. In 2004, the World Wide Web Consortium said that even if people with disabilities have physical internet access, the hardware or software providing the internet access may not be configured to allow those with disabilities to use it. There are screen reading programs for the blind, for example, but this is not a catch-all solution. As well, this requires people with disabilities to purchase expensive and extra technology, some being thousands of dollars, in order to even use the current technology. It is seen that much of the web is still not accessible to everyone, and like the elderly, they will continue to be left behind and not have strong improvements in their working lives.
People have been arguing whether technology helps people with their work or simply steals it. This subject has been a major threat for a lot of people, especially nowadays since technology became so advanced and many public figures did confirm that technology will take over jobs. Bill Gates in the American Enterprises Institute clearly stated that yes, machines will take over jobs. In addition, Oxford University published an article called The Future Employment, How Susceptible Are Jobs to Computerization, in which they stated the jobs that are at risk and those which are not. In in 1800 British textile workers, the Ludis protested against the new spinning machines because they were replaced with machines that are much more efficient and do not need any supervision. This saved a lot of money for business owners since machines are much cheaper and are way more productive. Optimists believe technology will take over jobs involving repetition gradually, and people will find other professions and jobs as farmers did. In 2004, people used to say it's difficult to program driving, but in 2010, Google did have the first driving car, which is only 6 years after. For Forbes newspaper presented a study that shows that computers and robots will take over 45% of the jobs over the next 2 decades, which is around 400 million jobs.
Technology is a major producer of stress in the workplace because of its incredible growth rate and ability to dynamically diversify. Moore's law states that the number of transistors on an integrated circuit doubles every 2 years, saying that technology advances at an exponential rate. The continual growth of existing technology, introduction of new software, hardware, and work techniques continues every year, requiring employees to learn often to remain relevant and competent in their field. This leads to a significant source of stress, negatively impacting a worker's professional life. Technology introduces a rise in performance-related stress as companies make financial investments in technology. In a study by Maslish and Handler, this amount is 1.5 to 7% of a company's annual gross revenue. This can be billions of dollars per year, causing the IT workers to feel heavily burdened by this investment. Not only do these workers have to learn and use this technology, but they do so under the knowledge that if they don't, they'll be replaced by someone who does. This is backed up by Dyakin and Phillips, who found that IT job turnover rate rose over 2% from 2000 to 2001 for workers in the US. Performance also leads to another source of stress, the turnover rate. It was said by Dubin that the half-life for technical knowledge for IT workers was 2 years. This small half-life indicates that an IT worker's skills become technically depleted over time instead of accumulating. These facts indicate that not only do IT workers have to continuously learn new material quite often to stay relevant, but they have to do this while performing their regular duties in the workplace. The compounding of these two causes significant stress. This stress is described fitting to all 5 categories of the Canadian Mental Health Association's job stress table, whether it be constantly learning new technical skills to further your career or defining your role in the company. Stress caused by technology can have a large negative impact on a worker's life.
Technology in the workplace has also led to many detrimental effects relating to social relationships and interactions within the workplace. With technology playing a leading part in how business is conducted, direct human interaction for communicating with one another is often lost, with computers now acting as its medium. This leads to a variety of problems, including stress and depression, due to a lack of human contact and feeling isolated from other people. Technology has enabled colleagues to work from home or communicate with each other in ways that do not require themselves to be physically present. With the availability of this option becoming increasingly available, many of those in the workplace opt to use such methods due to the convenience of not having to physically leave the comfort of their home or cubicle. Communicating through technology removes the human element from a workplace where a collaborative environment is essential. Within the workplace, without being physically in front of the person you are working with, it is often difficult to communicate without being able to see other people's body language or vocal tones, all of which contribute to communicating a message across. Apart from a loss of communication, the level of closeness from physically meeting someone is lost through technology, making those a part of the group feel less connected to each other on a personal level. Due to the lack of quality in interpersonal relationships, this leads to a degradation of morale in the workplace. This can further lead to certain members of the workplace feeling isolated and may negatively affect their performance. Sherry Tuchel, a professor from MIT, conducted research studying the effects of technology and its impacts to those in the workplace. One of her findings suggested that people preferred emails as opposed to in-person communication, as emails were a way for people to avoid human interaction in terms of the pressure and social awkwardness of dealing with colleagues face-to-face. Primarily, she found that most people avoid face-to-face conversations to avoid talking for long periods of time and inadvertently divulging into other business, which usually arises. She also found that having an abundance of technology entices people to use it more during social interaction, such as responding to emails during meetings, which results in people from being disengaged from conversations while still being physically present.
Alright,